Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. Today I've got a few bits that I need to do with some of my plants. Some I have been putting off for quite a while, others are more of a spur of the moment, why not, let's do it. And I figured I would take you guys along with me. So if you've got any planty chores that you need to get done, or even if you just want this on in the background while you're doing like housework or things like that, grab a cup of tea, grab the stuff you need to do and do them along with me. Before we do get into the video though, if you guys are new here, hi, my name's Amy and this is my jungle. I create content to share my hobby as well as document my houseplant journey. If you do enjoy the video, please don't forget to give it a like as well as subscribe to the channel for more planty content. If you want to be notified about new videos that go up on my channel, also hit that notification bell. If you guys are not new here, thank you again for joining me. I really do appreciate having you here. Now, I know you can't see them at the moment because of the angle of the camera, but I do have a few things in front of me that I do want to do today. I've got a couple of Hoya that I would like to get on trellises. I've finally ordered some because I found some that I do like the look of. And then I've also got a plant that is due a repot and I'd like to give a moss pole to. And my philodendron brandy that isn't doing as well as I'd like. So I think I'm going to look at air layering part of it and removing the top pole. And yeah, seeing where we go from there. Once I have repotted one of the plants, I am going to have to do a bit of a rearrange as well of my top shelf underneath my mirror. So again, I'll look to do that once we have repotted and watered the plants through. With this wide shelving unit, I also am toying with the idea of changing out the shelf. So with my Vitjo Narrow that is over behind where the camera is, I have left out one of the glass shelves. So I do have a spare one and I'm contemplating switching this long one out for the one that is half the size. And then that way some of my moss poles can also go on the shelving unit as well. And I can have a bit of a rearrange there. But I'm not fully decided, so I'll probably see what that looks like with you guys on camera and get your thoughts and opinions and go from there. I'm just going to change the angle of the camera for you and we'll get straight into the task that we've got to do today. So the first thing I think I'm going to start with today is going to be trellising the Hoya because I feel that that isn't going to take as long as the repot and air layering. So I'm just going to move a few bits out of the way and we'll start with those. Okay, so like I say, I did find some acrylic U-shaped trellises on Amazon, and these are what I'm going to be using for these two plants. There are other Hoya that I would like to get on trellises, but I'm just debating on whether or not I want to use the sort of arch style or look for like the circle ones or heart-shaped ones and things like that. So until I've found trellises that I do like the look of, I am just going to sort of leave them as is. The two Hoya that I'm going to be working with to put on trellises today is my Hoya sigillatus, this one here, and my Hoya crastioplata, which is this one just here. As you can see, both of them have got quite a lot of runners. So I would like to just start training them to climb up the trellises. So we'll start with the sigillatus, seeing as that is the one that is right in front of me now. We've got quite a lot of new growth on this one. I'm quite pleased with how it is growing. If anyone does know, I have seen the acrylic like spikes that you can attach onto the end to help it go into the soil a bit better. But I've not been able to find them yet on Amazon. So if anyone knows where you can get them from, do drop me a comment down below because I would love to purchase some because I think it'd make popping trellises into the pots a hell of a lot easier. Okay, so I think I'm going to here and here. So I've got the trellis in. Now this is where I'm going to get confused because I know it's anti-clockwise that they naturally tendril, which is that way. I'm looking down at a clock. Sorry, that's just my way of trying to work things out. Okay, so I'm just going to start by bringing some of these back and working out what ones I'm going to put where. And what's tangled around what. Hopefully this will encourage some of the runners to also send out some new leaves as well. And I've just got my little dragonfly clips to use to sort of keep them attached.
Sorry if you heard that, my cat has decided she's going to jump up onto the windowsill and knock the poster down. And I might take these ones and do them going up the opposite one, so that they'll cross over each other when they get to the top. Again, I think it's this one.
If anyone else has cats, do they always seem to want to wander through exactly when you're trying to do something, be that filming or watching telly? Okay, so that is that one done. It definitely does look and feel a lot neater and a lot less sprawly, because that is one thing that I was starting to get a little bit frustrated with. The tendrils were just sort of going everywhere. So yeah, I'm quite pleased that I managed to get that one on a trellis now. Might just add. I want to damage the baby leaf. Okay, so that is that one done. Next one we're going to move on to is the Cassioplata. Now, again, another one that is sort of sprawling everywhere, a little bit crazy. This one has also started to sort of tendril round itself in places. So I think I might look at trying to untangle those first. Or I might just see where we get and what we're looking like. Because I think, okay, yeah, that's one. So I don't want to damage any of the vines or leaves coming off of them, but that was actually easier than I thought it was going to be. Okay, so again for this one, I think I am going to trail them up both sides. I mean, it is something that I can always change at a later date, but for now, I think that's what I'm going to go for. So right here. Okay, now I've got to work out which vines I'm going to send where on this one. this one. Okay. I feel like I've also been hesitant to do this because I'm so worried about like snapping the vines, or I know they're pretty flexible, but yeah, I've just been so I bought this one as a sprawling mass anyway, so this one can come on here as well. And then the other 3 I'll pop on this side. And hope that we've wound them the right way, because I don't know. Is there anything, like, what happens if you do get them to grow the way that they wouldn't normally choose to grow? Because I mean, something I'll probably look up once I finish filming this, because yeah, I've not really trellised my Hoya. These are the first few that I'm doing, so anyone knows, do let me know. Like I say, I'm not 100% sure. Okay. And that is the Sigillatus all trellised. So quite intrigued to see how these guys continue to grow going forwards. Let me know down in the comments whether or not you guys trellis your Hoya, or if you just let them grow sort of crazy, or if you prefer them trailing, because I know everyone's got their own preferred ways of growing plants. But yeah, I'm quite excited to see how these two get on. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to do, like I say, my Philodendron brandiantum isn't looking her best. Bless her. She's very very sad. I say this top bit here is not actually attached to the pole, so I think I am going to look at air layering so I can chop and add it back into the bottom of the pot. And then remove this top pole, which I will probably give to the Monstera siltepecana that I'm going to be repotting in this video as well. First thing that I think I'm going to do is actually remove the top pole, because I think that then gives us a bit more space to work with. Okay, so that can just go here. Right, I'm going to undo all of the plant Velcro. I don't actually know if any of it has, I think some has rooted into the pole, but I'm not entirely sure. So I'm just going to take it all off and see what we're working with. Okay, so yeah, we have got some bits down here that have attached into the pole. I feel like air layering possibly from don't know. Some nice leaves on here. There's a few dead bits that can be cut off. Let me just grab my shears. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to leave the brandy to one side, repot my Monstera siltepecana, and then I'll move you in closer so you can see what I'm doing with the brandy, air layering and things like that. So my Monstera siltepecana. This is one that is, I mean, I've just got random bits of bamboo stake shoved in to try and keep it standing up. I've been putting off repotting this one for ages. But it is time. It is finally time. It is drying out so much and so quickly. So let's take all of these bits out. So it's in the tiniest of tiny pots as well, and if I bring it closer you'll be able to see she's starting to circle her roots around the bottom of the pot, so definitely due a pot upsize. So let's get this sorted. So like I said, I'm going to use the pole that had the brandy on it, so I am going to need to remove some of the moss that's in here and use that for air layering, waste not, want not, and all that. So yeah, so that's enough of that out. And I'm just using the Grow Tropicals Monstera and Philodendron mix to repot her into. But let's see, let's get I'm just going to add some mix into the pot so that we can get her standing on her own, and then I can okay. What I'm going to do is try and prevent there from being too much soil on the mat. I'm just going to as you can see, very rooted in here. Really actually pleased with how those roots are looking. I am just going to try and mat a little bit so that we can fit in the pot. I'm going to slide you in here. Now, this is a plant that has been putting out some crazy aerial roots, so I know she's definitely looking for something to climb. So I'm going to just separate out each of the strands, and I'm going to, just for now, go in with the butterfly clips to hold them to the pole, just so I can make sure the aerial roots are in contact and that they're spaced out as I want them. So pop that on there. I don't mind if they're flopping over at the top. It's more, like I say, just so I can make sure there's space for all of them to go up the pole. And again, this is one that is either going to need an extension or a chop and prop. So I'm going to have to decide what I want to do, because there are a few bits here that I can see where we're a little bit on the bald side, shall we say. Just feeding some of the aerial roots into the moss, because it just makes my life easier. Okay. Okay, so that's what we're looking like at the moment. I am going to now use the old soil and just backfill so that we're all nice and secure in there. And then I'll look to give this one a water through. And then, like I say, the next thing is going to be just rearranging the top shelf. And I know this one is probably going to need an extension at some point, but I'm thinking, because she grows off the pole so quickly, that what I might actually do is, once the roots come above the top of the pole, I'll look to again air layer. As you can see, I'm experimenting with new ways of propagating, but I'll look to air layer the top. Once those are rooted, pop them back in the bottom, because like I say, this one has been throwing out crazy aerial roots, so I don't think it will take long for the roots to grow into sort of the moss that surrounds them if I do air layer it. And then I can get her a little bit more full down at the bottom. Like I say, now that she's properly standing up and attached to a pole, I can really see, like around here, where we've lost some of the older leaves. Or where she's been allowed to sort of dry out a little bit too much, which is obviously a me problem. I am a chronic underwaterer. And there is the Siltepecana. I'll probably remove a bit of the moss from the top as well, just so I can rest a cup in there to be able to water it through. And also it then means that when I do come to add a moss pole, there is space for me to get one in there. But I will look at doing that in just a second. So I'm just going to clear away some of the mess here so we can work on the Philodendron brandiantum. Moving on to the Philodendron brandy. Like I said, I am going to air layer, but I've got quite a few nodes here that I could potentially do it from. So I think I might air layer around the top one. And then when it comes to chopping it to put it back in, I could chop a wet stick. Yeah, I think I might do that. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to go through and clean up any of the like bits that have died in here, and then see where we're at. I think she got knocked over as well, because I've noticed that she's actually quite low in terms of potting mix at the back, so I'll top that up as well once we've sorted out air layering. So like I say, she's no longer attached to the pole, and there is only this one section that has rooted in. So again, I think at the moment, just because I have hundreds of these, I'm going to use the butterfly clips to attach them to the moss pole, similar to how I did with the Silta Picana. So you attach that one to there. You can hear how dry part of this moss pole is as well. Then let's try and untangle them a little bit. This one. Completely missed the actual. That looks a bit better already. Then what I'll do with like these bits that just sort of seem to want to hang forwards, I'm just hooking them around the wings of the butterflies, just so that they are up a little bit straighter. A bit that I missed that can come off. I must admit, I do think this is one that I've probably not been as consistent with keeping the pole moist. So something that I definitely do need to be more aware of going forwards. Okay, so she looks a little bit better. So that's what we're working with at the moment. And like I say, I am going to air layer this section here. So this section. Okay, so where's I have some cling film. I did bring up extra just in case I decide to air layer anything else while we're here. So I'm just going to break it in half. Don't need a lot. So take some of the moss that we took out of the pole earlier, and what have we got? And then I'm just going to pop it around this node here. And then I'm going to take my cling film and we're going to wrap around the moss. So I have only just started playing about with air layer in. The first plant that I did it on was my Milano Chrysum, and that seems to be doing quite well at the moment. Like I say, it's only been 2 weeks nearly. And then we'll just be keeping this moist. What I am going to do, just so that it doesn't weigh the plant down too much, is I'm just going to clip a butterfly clip so that she stays upright. And then, like I say, I'll just be keeping this moist as well. So let me just attach that for now, just so that it stays up. And I'm just going to use some of this Monstera philodendron mix just to retop up her at the back. So I'm not quite sure what's happened, but she seems to have lost quite a bit of soil from there. And a little bit in the front. Okay, and that is it for the philodendron brandiantum. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to tidy up the mess that I've made down here, and then we'll look at reorganising the shelving unit just so that we can get all the plants in the best spots. Next thing that I want to do is reorganise this top shelf. Ideally, what I do want to have up here is my anthurium and the other plants to move off. Obviously, when the moss poles get taller, they're then going to encroach on the space of the Cebu blue that sits above this mirror. For now, they're okay because they are still quite small plants, but I just feel like it needs a bit of a change around for me to be happy with it. I definitely want to move my crystallinum cross magnificum onto this side and have my warwickwianum in the corner there, just because of the way that her leaves are growing. And then I've obviously got my Monstera siltepecana to put back up here, and my Hoya, the crastiopelata that I trellis, no longer fits on the shelf underneath, so that's probably going to come up here as well for the time being until I figure out somewhere else for it to go. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take everything off of the shelf, give it a quick wipe over with a microfiber cloth, and then look at popping things back up on the shelf and seeing how they look. So I know for definite that I want the two bigger ones in the corner. And eventually I do want to get like a acrylic stake to go into this one so that I can keep it quite uniform. Obviously at the moment doesn't really need one, but just an idea for the future. And then warwickwianum we want to put here. Okay. Or do we want to keep her in the centre? No, actually. I do want her to go just here. Okay. So, those are the two that we've got up so far. I think I might change things around a bit. I do quite like these two being near each other. I feel like I'm quite enjoying watching I have got 2 more plants that do need to go up here, but I don't know what's the best way to display them, because the Balanoum is quite sprawling in terms of its growth, and yeah, it just seems to want to branch every which way. So maybe that one I might move elsewhere, but I don't know where at the moment. Could this one's quite compact. And then it blocks the queen. Okay, so I think I'm happy with that at the moment. I may have to rejiggle it just because I do have my philodendron white princess that was up here before, but obviously now I've added my Hoya, it doesn't quite fit. Unless we make a bit more space here. Actually going to take this one out. Oh, yeah, so I think I'm happy with that. And like I say, the stand liana I will look to place elsewhere. So this is a final overview of the new setup on top of the shelf. We've got my crystal mag in the corner here, the Balanoum in front of it. This is the newest leaf it's pushed out. I've then gone in with my philodendron pink princess, which is next to the Monstera siltepecana that we've just put on a moss pole. Then my philodendron white princess. In front of those is the Hoya crastioplata that's now on her trellis. Then we've got the Queen Anthurium, or the Anthurium warwickwianum, here at the back. The Clarinervium, this was a Clarinervium cross is what I bought it as, so I don't know what hybridization it is. And then my Crystallinum, which I think is looking at pushing out a new leaf, if you can see that there. But yeah, I think overall I'm quite happy with how this shelf looks. It might change, but for now it looks okay. The last idea that I have been playing around with, and I'm not sure whether or not I do want to do it, whether or not it's going to look good, I'm going to like it, is changing out the glass shelf here for the smaller one. Like I said, this is the shelf that I'm not using for my Vitjo Tall Narrow, which is sort of half the size of the wide one. So it would fit. It's just whether or not it makes sense. Because it does mean that I would be able to put some moss poles on the shelf here that would get the grow light that's up here. but then I would also lose some of my storage space for my soil mixes. But what I was thinking is if I did change them over and this shelf went in here, is that I might actually get some grow lights for the narrow shelf and put my prop box underneath it, and then all of my amendments can go in the corner, or at least all of the stuff that I don't use as frequently, because they're going to be behind the moss poles that are in that corner anyway. So I don't really want stuff in there that I have to keep going in and out for and moving stuff. But yeah, I feel like I'm going to take everything off of this shelf and just change it over so that I can put this one in and see how I feel about it, and then go from there. I have got space on the upper shelves for some of the plants that are on here, so I'm not too concerned about having nowhere for them to go. It's more whether or not it's going to be practical for this to only be half a shelf as opposed to a full one. Keep going to put them down on top of the glass shelf that I want to put in there. So all of my Haworthia can move up to where my cactus and euphorbia are above the shelving unit, and they can go up there, so that's not an issue, because again these are ones that I probably water around about the same time as I water my cactuses. Okay, so I take this shelf out. So going to rest that there, and then see how this one fits in. Okay, so that fits quite nicely there. It has got a bit of a gap. Really want to keep it about there. I don't know how I feel about it. I think what I'm going to do, I am going to time lapse this while I do it, but I'm going to put plants back on, move these and pop one of my moss poles there so I can see how it looks and get a feel for it that way. But let me know what you guys would do, whether or not you think I should keep it as a half shelf and have space for my moss poles to grow up, or if you think I should go back to having it as a full shelf and leave it as it was. It'd be great to hear your thoughts in the comments. Like I say, I'm just sort of toying about with the idea because it just gives me a bit more floor space. If I can, say for example, my Epipremnum pinnatum, if that could go in there. I know it's a bit of a faff then getting them back out because we've got the bar across, and yeah, I'm not sure. But yeah, like I say, I'm gonna just pop some of these plants in different places and try setting up a few plants here with a moss pole and see what that looks like, and then go from there. You never know, I might end up changing it straight back, but it's worth a shot. This is how it's looking at the moment. As I say, if it does stay like this, I'm going to get grow lights to go on this shelf and my prop box will come underneath here. And then all of the stuff that I use for my repotting will just go and replace the prop box on the narrow shelf. I don't know how I feel about it. Like I say, because it's got this bar here, which is kind of integral to the structure of the actual shelving unit, it's a bit of a mission to get the plants in and out. It's not difficult by any means, but I just don't know if I can be dealing with that faff when I take them out to water them through in the shower, as opposed to using like the cup or the watering globe. I think it has got screws on it, so I believe that I can remove this shelf. It's just, yeah, or I don't know if it's this one or the one above that the whole thing can come apart, but yeah, I think that one can as well. So I could potentially faff about taking it apart, but I feel like I'm going to have to probably take the whole shelf apart to be able to do that. So yeah, for the time being, I don't know, guys. Let me know in the comments what you think, whether or not it should stay how I've got it now, or if I should put the shelf, the original shelf, back in. So that is it for today's video. I hope you did enjoy it, and if you were doing chores along with me, you managed to get everything done that you wanted to. Let me know down in the comments what you think I should do about this shelf, if it should stay as a half shelf or if I should put the original shelf back in. Because yeah, I'm really undecided and I don't know how I feel about it. So I'm going to leave it for a few days, see if it grows on me. But yeah, it'd be great to hear your thoughts down in the comments. Once again, if you did enjoy the video, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to the channel for more planty content. You can also hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified whenever I post a new video. I'll see you guys all in the next one. Take care and have a lovely weekend. Bye.